Yo, how's it going to do? Back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Boston Celtics could potentially be in big trouble. Now, I know the series is tied 2-2 right now. I know the Celtics just won Game 4, but I think it was a little bit of a fluky game. Now, Boston Celtics fans, I already know they're not going to agree with this video, but I just ask that y'all hear me out for the whole thing. And I'm not bashing the Celtics. I'm not even saying the Celtics can't win the series or anything. I'm just saying that I see there being a very big problem going down into the home stretch of this series, going into the final few games. And I'll be getting to some of the problems that I think I am seeing and why I think they could cause big problems for the Celtics going in farther down the line in this series and maybe even farther down in the playoffs if they make it past this series. So Boston fans, please don't hate me. Please don't dislike the video. Hear me out. And if you still dislike the video once I'm done, then you can dislike the video. But actually, it might not be good because I heard, scientifically proven by the way, if you hit the like button, believe it or not, your favorite team will win the series. And if you hit the subscribe button, guess what? Your team wins the NBA Finals. It's been scientifically proven by every scientist. Don't question it, just do it. But with all that out of the way, let's get right into this video. Okay, so the first and most obvious thing I want to get into for this video is going to be that they literally have a 0% chance of ever stopping Giannis in any shape or form on the basketball court. Like, it has become very apparent that Giannis in this series can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and there's nothing the Celtics can do about it. Even when they have Robert Williams in the game, who's really the only player big enough and has the athleticism to even attempt to guard Giannis on the Celtics, he honestly can't do it either. And now Giannis is going to be able to do whatever he wants in any series. But even in the Chicago Bulls series, we didn't see Giannis fully take over the way he is taking over. Giannis is currently almost averaging a 32-point triple-double in this series. He's 2 assists away a game from averaging a 32-point triple-double in this series. So that is absolutely insane. We haven't really seen Giannis have a very high playmaking role, especially not in a playoff series like we've seen him having so far in this one. He has been very good in playmaking and really everything. He's been unstoppable offensively, which he always is in every series, but it's kind of been to a different extent. Like, they have been able to do nothing to even slow him down or even to attempt to slow down Giannis. And to make things worse, he's also taking over on the defensive end, averaging a steal and a block in every single game he has played this series. So when you have Giannis taking over on both sides of the floor, now yes, Giannis is one of the best players, if not the best player in the NBA. So he is going to have these type of games, but usually even these type of players aren't fully dominant on both sides of the ball and playmaking and scoring and rebounding every single night. But in this series, Giannis has been exactly that. He has been dominant in every facet of the game that you can possibly think about, and he has been dominant to the point to where he's probably the best at pretty much everything in this series right now. And that is a big reason why I have the Bucks winning, because of how much better Giannis is than anyone else in this series. Giannis is by far the best player in the series. Now, Giannis would be the best player in pretty much every single series, no matter who he was playing against. But in this one in particular, Giannis has been outplaying everyone by an absolute landslide, and in my opinion, it's been one of his most dominant playoff series of his entire career up to this point, which is, to the Boston Celtics credit, impressive that it is tied 2-2, but I'll be getting into that right now. The second thing I really and mainly wanted to get into is that Jason Tatum and really kind of the Boston Celtics have been getting kind of fluky wins, because if you really look at what's going on, Jason Tatum in the first round, he looked like a superstar that we all know. He averaged 30 points per game, 7 assists, 4 rebounds on 45% shooting from the field and 41% from the 3. He looked locked in, and he looked like that superstar that we all expect to see on every single night. While in this series, those stats look much different. He's only averaging 22 points per game on 5 assists per game, 3 rebounds per game on 36% shooting from the 3-point line and 35% shooting from the field. And although, yes, obviously his stats are going to go down as he plays better teams, but that's not something that happens with the other superstars of the league. Like, you can take Kevin Durant for an example, but the Brooklyn Nets were never really into this season. You could tell they were kind of checked out from the jump because of the whole Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Ben Simmons situation. They had so much going on and they were so distracted, it was hard for them to focus on basketball. But most superstars at the level of Jason Tatum and players like that usually don't see these big drop-offs in their averages like Jason Tatum has in this series. And if Tatum continues to put up these type of numbers, now I know he just had a good night, but he's he's been kind of inconsistent. He had one game where he dropped 10 points, and he had another game where I think he only had like 18, and those just aren't Jason Tatum-like numbers, and I think it was 18 on bad efficiency as well. So if he's going to keep seesawing like this throughout the series, I cannot see them winning a 7-game series against the Milwaukee Bucks, against a team who is going to be consistently the same and consistently as good, and the Boston Celtics are going to be seesawing up and down. And then they honestly very much should be down 3-1 in this series, and I know it might sound like I'm a Bucks fan, but I'm really not. Like, I am not cheering for either one of these. I'm a Pelicans fan. I just like watching the NBA. And the Bucks honestly should be up 3-1. If it's not for a 15-point fourth quarter from Al Horford and a 12-point quarter from Jason Tatum, the Celtics are easily down 3-1 in this series. Unless you're going to rely on Al Horford dropping 30 points every game, the Celtics are going to have a very hard time finishing out this series, because Al Horford is not dropping 30 points a game in the playoffs anymore. He's what, 35, 36 years old now? He's just not going to be doing that. He had a very good game, and he is pretty much the reason the Boston Celtics were able to come out and win this game. Because if you look at it, Jason Tatum did have a solid game, and he played very good up to his standards, but him and Giannis kind of canceled each other out tonight, and Al Horford, being a role player dropping 30 points, is the reason why they won, because the Milwaukee Bucks didn't have anyone else to cancel out Al Horford, and then Jaylen Brown played solidly, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. But the Boston Celtics were down 7 points going into the fourth quarter, and if it wasn't for Al Horford getting extremely hot, and I think hitting 3 threes in the fourth quarter, and hitting 5 threes on the night, and only missing 3 shots total the entire night as well, by the way, they probably lose this game, and they're down 3-1 in the series, and now this series looks completely different, but it is now tied 2-2 due to a somewhat sort of fluky win from the Celtics, in my opinion. So unless the Celtics can get these consistency issues down, and they can play a full game consistently well, and they don't have to rely on only winning in the fourth quarter, and if Jason Tatum can go back to being consistently a 28 point per game scorer on good efficiency, then they can win this series. But if Jason Tatum's going to keep seesawing the way he has, if they're going to have to rely on players like Al Horford and going off and looking like prime Michael Jordan, and then they're just going to struggle to win a series against a team that's as consistent as the Milwaukee Bucks. And to kind of put things in more of a perspective, if the Boston Celtics were to go on and beat the Milwaukee Bucks, they would still have to beat a team like the Miami Heat or the Philadelphia 76ers at full strength. Because a lot of people are forgetting Chris Middleton is not playing in this series right now. And if Chris Middleton was playing in the series, that would be a whole different problem. Because now the Celtics would have to worry about him guarding him more, and Giannis would be taking over even more than he already is, which is a scary thought due to how good Giannis has played in this series. So it would be very, very interesting to see what Chris Middleton would be able to do in this series, and if he does end up coming back in games 5, 6, or 7, I find it very hard to believe that the Milwaukee Bucks can lose the series with Chris Middleton on the roster. But if the Celtics then go on to make it to the conference finals, are they really going to beat a team like Philly with a fully healthy James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid? Probably not. And same with the Miami Heat. Now, although I think they have a better chance of beating the Miami Heat, they still have to deal with Tyler Hero, who's been playing great, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and other players like that. Now, although I think Boston has a way better chance of beating the Miami Heat than the Philadelphia 76ers, I think for sure that if they do have to go play Philly in the next round, I don't think they have the talent, and they're not the good enough team to beat a team like the 76ers, opposed to a fully healthy Milwaukee Bucks team, who I think is good enough to win the NBA Finals. So I just don't think the Celtics team, even if they make it past this series, have what it takes to win a Finals, and really, if they play Philly, even get out of the Eastern Conference. And it is going to be a very interesting thing to see if they do make it out of this series, what they're going to be able to do in the future, or how they're going to build this team, because I don't see Boston making it out of the East at all. I just don't think that they're going to be able to. Jaylen Brown has been averaging around 21 points a game, and I don't think he is good enough to be the second best player on a team like the Boston Celtics to win a Finals. So I think for sure this team is probably going to lose this series, especially if Chris Middleton comes back, which I don't think he is. But if Chris Middleton does come back, this series is 100% going to Milwaukee. And even if it stays like this, I still seeing it going with Milwaukee, if I'm being honest. But I could also be very wrong, and most likely will be. So, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win this series? Do you think the Celtics could have a huge problem in Giannis, and just with Tatum kind of being inconsistent? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you did like the video, hit like button, subscribe button. I mean the absolute word to me. All glory to God. Hope you have a blessed day. God bless. See you now. Blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.